Meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, February the 2nd, 2021. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, January 28th, 2021 at 3:45 p.m. and the supplemental agenda was posted on Friday, January 29th, 2021 at 4 p.m.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's pause briefly for a moment of silence, and then we'll have a pledge to the flags. United States of America, and to the
republic,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty
and justice for all.
Pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag.
Texas flag,
I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one
one
state,
state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Okay. I've been informed we have no one to make public comments this morning. Under D is proclamations and resolutions. Under D1's approval of a resolution in the opposition to unfunded mandates. In that, it gives an example of the amount of dollars in each category that the state requires the counties to pick up. This resolution comes in light of the state requiring a limited budget for each county. And so we just want to make a showing about how much the state pushes expenses to us, which is in McLennan County is $12,025,843 that the property taxpayers have to pay, which is 14.1% of the county tax rate. Any questions about this? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Motion's made and second. Any other discussion? Other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Dalton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Okay, pass. I would like to go to item M1. This is an update regarding the COVID-19. So Elizabeth?
Judge Felton, Commissioners, good morning. Elizabeth is out this morning, so
Okay.
I'm signing in.
Okay.
I can start this morning with a couple of numbers on our testing program. So far this year, since we started back up with our new system, we have tested 9,102 people. We still have active sites at McLennan Community College as well as the Waco Multipurpose Center, which will remain open at the very least through February. They're at no charge to the public, and we want to make another concerted effort to remind the public that even though we're on to vaccines now, without testing, we're really kind of unclear on how the vaccines will be working. So it's still a very important piece of the puzzle. Our Emergency Operations Center continues to be very, very active in the vaccine process. Last week, for example, we answered more than 3,000 calls with an average of about 645 a day of people calling in to try to make vaccine appointments or questions about the vaccine and other things of that nature. So we continue to be very busy over here. The EOC continues to register hundreds of people for vaccines every day. And we do this after hours and on the weekends too. And I believe speaking with Waco IT is our goal today is to try to get about 900 of them done. So we are very active in reaching out to our community to try to get those people registered for their vaccines. We're doing a lot of research and brainstorming in order to try to find more effective ways to achieve more equitable access to the vaccines. It continues to be a very high priority for us, and we are constantly trying to think of better ways to do that. Unfortunately, supply continues to be our largest limiting factor, and we are not under the impression that that is going to change anytime soon, for at least another month. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is on the horizon, but that is not up to bat so frequently, if you will. So we'll be waiting on that. Another interesting item is in the Waco Trib today, they had reported that 16,418 residents have been vaccinated. That constitutes 6% of the total county population. So while we only have 1,500 vaccines available per week currently, we are making a very large effort to make sure all of those slots are filled up. And to my knowledge, we have not wasted a single vaccine as of yet. So that's good news, I think, on our part. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Ryan might also mention that the number that you're given and available vaccines is what's assigned to the public health district. There's also vaccines that I think Ascension Providence has received a considerable amount of vaccine that they'll be pushing down to their primary care physicians and other doctors, as well as I think maybe having some on-site registration there at the hospital. And then, of course, the other providers are CVS, HEB, Walmart, Walgreens, all those too. So the number you reported is what comes to the public health district. So
yes, sir, that is correct. Both hospitals have received a larger allocation than we did for the public health district, and they will do that at their main hospitals and also in all of their clinics, as well as all of the HEBs and the CVSs of the world. That is correct.
yeah. And the article you referred to outlines that. So anybody that has an interest in looking at that, I suggest you go to wacotrib.com and look at that. It's a very, very good article. It gives a pretty wide view of what's going on in the county. All right. Anything else, Ryan?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. And I think while we're talking about the public health district and I'd like to go to item M8 on page 21, the mutual aid assistance to Waco McLennan County Health District. And Dustin and Mike, may if y'all are available to speak to this.
Yes, sir. And Judge, as the court and everyone's aware that these vaccine clinics distribution take large amounts of personnel to run, and the city and MCC, Baylor, and others have been providing assistance, and the county has as well. And this is just an order approving that mutual aid assistance, where the county may assign employees who volunteer to participate in assisting the health district. Employees who assist will be entitled to their regular county compensation for time spent assisting the district, including overtime and comp time, which will follow our current county policy. And then the assistance for this will be coordinated through our office with the help of human resources. We'll have sign-up sheets to make sure we're not overstaffed. But this is a great need and something that county employees have been willing to do, and some have already done it. And it will also retroactively cover those who have already provided this service.
Okay, are there any questions on that?
This is a volunteer basis, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, under M8, if there's no other questions, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under there's we're going to skip around, but try to get people that are guests that are presenting where they can get back to work. So we'll have them on the front of the agenda. But one item is actually in the consent agenda. Piece of it is item E3B, And Judge Hensley, I think, is online, and it's HR matter for JP1.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing, Judge?
I'm doing well. Just barely made it. I had a death this morning.
Oh.
My request, the Commissioners Court had authorized $1,500 for temporary help for my court, but it had been designated at $10 an hour. And we're asking the court to let us do $15 an hour. So we have a former chief clerk who's willing to work a little part-time for us to help us get caught up. Because she already knows all the systems, she knows the 200 odd codes, and she's very transaction oriented. When she focuses, she moves quickly. And it would be much more help to us to be able to bring Amanda Becky on. And 100 hours of her time is worth a whole lot more than somebody else's time because she already knows all the systems. So it's the same amount of money, the $1,500, but to allow us to pay her $15 instead of $10 an hour.
Okay, Anna or Dustin, do y'all have any thoughts on this or anything to add to it?
The request she's making, Judge, I mean, that's in line with other clerical requests for hourly wage increase. The range is $10 to $15 an hour for part-time clerical staff.
Okay. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but what I would say, I think her request is not out of line. I think she gets a better use of the money that we've given her if we allow her to get someone in who's already trained as opposed to spending money to train somebody.
Right.
Thank you. I do too.
I agree. Okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you, Judge Hensley.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right, Dustin, if you'll pick up, we've gone over kind of an outline of the order of presentations. If you'll pick up where we.
Yes, sir. So moving down to M3, this is discussion and/or action regarding early voting sites. As we know, this was presented to the court on January 19th and deferred. So Judge, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. Let's see, y'all heard the presentations last time. I think maybe is Esmeralda on?
Yes, sir. And Jared is on as well, Judge.
Oh, Jerry's on as well.
And Councilman Sabito too.
Okay, good. Well, welcome. Good morning, folks. Anything additional that y'all would want to add, or everyone has the last presentation in their package. So Esmeralda or any of the others want to speak to it, and then we'll have Jared speak to it as well.
Esmeralda, you're on mute. Sorry.
You would think I would get that by now, right? Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me here again. And I will probably defer to Councilmember Sabito for his comments as well. My only request again is to ask the commissioners and the judge to consider our request for adding an additional early voting site. Again, considering that our hope is to provide convenience to voters who otherwise may not vote as easily as we're accustomed to, hopefully to increase voter turnout in that area and provide an equitable way by transportation and distance to voters in the South Waco area. Councilmember Sabito.
Thank you, City Secretary Hudson, and I couldn't have said it better myself. So I just echo what she said, and thank you so much to the Commissioners Court for hearing us out and for your consideration. And if there are any questions that we can help answer, please let us know.
Okay, any questions for the councilman or Esmeralda? If not, Jared, I think you've done some little research and kind of tell us what your opinion is.
Yeah, I mean, basically what we've said in the last couple of meetings, that I don't see where we have a strong need for any extra early voting sites. I think that the evidence has shown through through this November election that our 5 early voting sites have served our voters here in McLennan County very well. We had, once again, 70,000 people vote at our 5 early voting sites. The early voting sites are established. People know where they are. We don't want to make it confusing for anyone. We did use the proposed site at South Waco Community Center in 2011. And just as a reminder, only 28 people voted early at that site for all of early voting. So we're estimating a turnout of probably 3,000 people tops during early voting for the May election. I just don't see where there's a need. We've had a couple of other cities who have asked for early voting sites. Once again, we can't give everybody an early voting site. It's just not feasible. Mart ISD has been the latest. We told them no. They're going to run their own election. And Belmead has also asked for an early voting site, and we're trying to tell them no as well. We want to be fair to all of the entities who want to hold an election. And we want to make sure that we're being consistent and continuing to use the same early voting sites that we typically do. So, and if anybody has any questions for me, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions?
Yes, Judge, please, to
Yes.
Jared. Jared, I asked I think the last meeting we had for some numbers on the distance for people from north, south, east, and west McLennan County, and you were kind enough to pull those together. I don't know if you have shared them or the other commissioners may already be aware of this, but would you share those numbers, please?
Let me see here. I know it was around 20 miles from Mart. Yeah, around 20 miles from Mart. I think it was like 17 from west to the Waco Multipurpose Community Center. It was around 17, 18 from Crawford to the West Waco Library. About 15 from McGregor to the West Waco Library. Moody, their closest location is the Hewitt City Hall, and it was around 14 miles. Sorry, I don't have those exact numbers right on me yet, but I know it was around 15 to 20 miles for those farthest sites to the closest early voting sites.
Jared, one thing is this. If we added an early voting site, are all the cities going to have to go back and readopt their orders?
Yeah, we are going to have to redo the orders because we don't have the South Waco Community Center included on the order of election.
And just
most of my cities have adopted. So
I'm sorry, say it again.
Most of my cities have already.
Yeah, I've already received several signed copies, yes.
Esmeralda, do you have a comment?
Sure. I just wanted to remind, I know that often after the final day for individuals to file for the May election, we would have to go back and amend our orders anyways because of the changes. Often if an entity doesn't have a contested election, then we go back to our governing bodies and ask them to cancel certain portions of an election to either reduce early voting sites, change early voting sites. And so I think there's always time for us to bring that back if that's something that we would consider.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I had something, if I could, I'd like to see the information on that mileage from our rural communities coming into our early voting site locations. I did receive the request from City of Belmead. Is it, but I didn't receive the one, I didn't get a copy of the one from Mart ISD. If I could get a copy of that, I would appreciate it. And do we have any other requests from any other of our entities asking for an additional early voting site?
As of now, no. Mart ISD was the last one. This was last week when it came through. They have, their school district is located in several different counties. They have run their own elections in the past, and they felt like it would be easier for them to run their own election so that they could have that early voting site in the city of Mart, where it's a little more centrally located for the voters that reside in Limestone and Falls County, as well as McLennan County. And I believe most of their voters are in McLennan County. That was an option that I gave to them, and they felt that it was the best option for them.
Okay, could you forward their request to me though, just for FYI? I'd just like to see it.
Sure, absolutely. And I'll give you the numbers here in just a second. Actually, I found the numbers. What I told you actually was accurate. So what I had off the top of my head. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, like I was saying with Mart ISD, all entities have the option to run their own election, and then they lease the equipment from us. We still help them out. We get the equipment ready. We program the ballot. We test them with the machines. We train the cities on how to use the equipment. And you know, if they want their own early voting site, that is absolutely an option to them as well.
Any other questions or comments? If not, what's the pleasure of the court? So I'm assuming that no one on the court has an opinion about what we ought to do with this.
Judge, I think what we were hearing there is that no one was willing to make a motion. So therefore it would die. But I want to, based off Jared's information he's given us is very helpful. I certainly understand the need of most of the communities wanting an early voting site. And that's exactly the problem, is that we'll create additional communities that will want additional early voting sites. How do we take care of the people that are 20 miles out? How do we take care of the people that are 15 miles out? If I truly felt, would it be of a convenience? Absolutely. But there's a bigger picture here that I think we on the court have to pay attention to, and that's the county-wide voter in this instance. So
Okay.
You're looking for a motion. I would make a motion that we deny the request.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made. Second, any other discussion?
I have just one thought. Jared did mention that in 2011, he gave us the number of people that voted at that South Waco Community Center site for early voting, but we haven't received anything else. We received a request from the city where they outlined how it would be beneficial, but we haven't received any information for us to just even look at this statistically and say if it's would be beneficial or not. I do trust in Jared's recommendation, but it would have been nice to at least had a report or some findings that showed us a past historical behavior in that location. And then I would be more comfortable voting it up or voting it down.
I have that information.
Now I'm kind of, I really don't know. I don't have anything but data from 2011.
That information is available on our website. If you look at the historical data, that's actually where I pulled it from. If you go to McLennanVotes.com and then under past elections, if you look under 2011 and then May 2011, that information is there.
So you want me to go to our website and just go through all of the past elections? Is it possible to just get a cumulative report? Maybe a spreadsheet you could provide?
When I send you the information about the mileage, I can send you a link to that on our website. That's no problem.
I know what you're saying, go to and look. I'm saying, is there any way you can compile that perhaps in a spreadsheet where I don't have to go in and out of every May election?
Sure, I can look at doing something like that, sure. Are you wanting, I just want to make sure I'm getting the right, on the same page. You want to know the turnout in each May election?
For that site.
That site, I think that's the only time we've ever used that site.
Oh, okay, that's the only time you've had it?
Yes, yes.
And that was before we went to vote centers, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
That's when we had
but-
single vote centers and precinct based, so only that neighborhood could vote there.
You can vote at any early voting site, correct?
That is
Correct.
correct, Commissioner Jones. Yeah, early voting, it kind of works like the election day vote center. It's the same kind of concept.
So I agree with Commissioner Perry. You know, if we do this for one, we're going to have to do it for all, and it opens up a, I don't think we want to end up with, what is it, 43 early voting sites.
No, we do not.
I don't think that would, I don't think that would work too well.
That would not work. That's completely unfeasible.
Okay, and that would not be my suggestion to spend money unwisely. So what I want to understand, because I think you answered my question. I was saying I had a feeling of unreadiness because I really didn't have any data on the voting activity in that area. But you're saying that in 2011, we had created that early voting location at South Waco Community Center, but it was precinct based. But that is true. You can go to any early voting site, and that was the situation in 2011.
Correct.
And so we only had 28 people to vote at that location.
Correct. Yeah, there was no more than, there was less than 10 people every day during early voting who voted on that site. It was between as low as 1 and 9 voters per day at that site, 28 total.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why we closed down the Lacey Lakeview site is because of the small amount of people there. And we sort of had a tradition where only each commissioner got one. I guess we still hold that.
That is correct.
That's not necessarily a law or anything like that, but
that is correct, Commissioner Jones. That's where we're at.
Just about every March and November election, I get calls about Lacey Lakeview being open, wanting it to be open back up.
Good point. All right, let's see. We got a motion and a second. We've had adequate discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, Dustin.
All right, Judge, moving on to item M7. This is a presentation regarding proposed municipal management district in Lorena and possible action on a resolution and or letter of support for creation of the district. I know we have representatives from the city on the line. So Commissioner Smith, did you want to introduce this item?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And Judge, let me just preface it by saying what's being asked today is simply for the county to support a resolution in favor of the creation of this MMD and nothing else on our part. And with that being said, I'd like to call on Joseph Pace, who is the city manager for the city of Lorena. And I think there are some other interested parties also on Zoom with us today. So if it's okay, we'll let Joseph quickly tell us a little bit about the MMD and what they plan on doing.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Joseph.
Morning, Judge. Thank you for having me, and commissioners, especially Commissioner Jim Smith and Chrissy Brawl for allowing us to come into the court today. As y'all always hear on the news or you hear around Central Texas, is that Lorena's the next big spot to grow. And this is part of that growth. And so we have a group that we've been talking to for some time now, Rick Sheldon Group, that's looking to expand their footprint in Lorena, on the west side of Lorena, in the open field across from Berkshire Brothers, and take it across the railroad tracks towards the elementary school. And so we have two representatives today, and they're named Chris McGowan and Mike Anderson of the Rick Sheldon Group. And what they're asking for is for us to support them in their request for an MMD, and I'm going to let them speak to that matter.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Judge. Appreciate you, Commissioner Smith. for the opportunity to visit. My name is Chris McGowan. As Joseph said, I'm here with my colleague, Mike Anderson, representing Rick Sheldon and Rick Sheldon Real Estate on a proposed transformational development for the city of Lorena. What we're asking for you guys specifically today is actually a letter of support for the creation of this MMD. That letter of support would go to Senator Birdwell and Representative Anderson, just showing the county supports this initiative to create this development here in McLennan County and Lorena specifically. I trust you have had opportunity to review the materials that were provided to you. I believe we've gotten you an overview of the project, the Villages of Lorena, as well as an overview of what a municipal management district is and does from the state of Texas. So I will just leave it open to questions. I should say first that I'd like to thank Joseph Pace and the city of Lorena. They've already executed a resolution stating their intention to support the creation of this MMD, and the county support would be very helpful to allow us to move forward and approach the state legislature to create this special district that will enable really what an MMD does in this instance is it pushes the risk from the city to the developer in financial risk, I should say, in giving them the ability to create the revenue through bonds and things to install the utilities, parks, and roads and other things for this development. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know this is a bit of a new thing for McLennan County, so let me know if you have any questions.
I think I'm sorry, this is Mike Dixon. I think you may have already answered the questions through Chrissy, but I want to make sure we have it on the record. This has no fiscal impact on the county. We're not being looked to give up any taxes, to give up any sales taxes in the area, or do any increment financing, correct?
No. The MMD will not place any burden on your existing tax revenues. What the MMD will do is it will allow the district to make a new assessment that will allow us to utilize those funds or bonding capacity to institute the improvements that need to be done. It's possible in the future that we come to the county with a proposal to create a TERS on top of the municipal management district, that we would request a revenue sharing agreement with that TERS on new taxable value that's created within the district to help service debt on the MMD. But at this point, all we're asking for is the support for the creation of the municipal management district.
And that tax would be on the appreciation.
Yeah, the tax in a TERS would be on new value that's created. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any? Let's see, Joseph. Do we have or Chris? Do we have that resolution from the city of Lorena in our package? I didn't see it in mine. Is that it?
I believe we sent a sample of the resolution.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we were able to get the full thing that was executed to you guys before this meeting, but I can certainly forward that on.
Well, we've got, of course, we've created a resolution if the court chooses to pass it. I just wanted to be sure we had Lorena's support as well. So Joseph, you could get that to me if I would appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I can get that to you tomorrow. Our city secretary is out today, but once she's back tomorrow, I'll send it right to your office.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any?
Yeah, go ahead, Judge.
No, go ahead.
I'd like to just for a point of clarification, because I applaud and encourage and support any development in our rural communities. However, the vote on today's resolution, does it in any way affect our vote? Should it come up that they're asking for that additional tax consideration in the future? I hate to do a resolution and then I'm also looked at to vote okay on that issue in the future.
Not at all. This is simply for your support so that we can approach the legislature to establish the municipal management district. Anything else that happens after that will not be subject to this. Think about this as a sort of a letter of support for a grant application or something other than that. This is not necessary. The only thing that's required under the state legislature is that the city approves participation, but it is very helpful for us that Representative Anderson and Senator Birdwell see that the county supports this project as well.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Shelton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you, Joseph, Chris, and Mike for the presentation, and wish you the best of luck. I think we all gain if it's successful. So,
Thank you, Judge, for having us this morning. We really appreciate the court listening to us.
all right. Thank you. All right.
All right, moving on to item P, McLennan County Radio Tower Project. Under item P3, we have a progress update from project consultants. I'd like to call on Frank and Captain Nixon, Michael Graham, Ken, and John Strunk if he's on the line as well. All right, Frank.
Thank you, Dustin. Commissioners, just kind of give you a brief update of where we are and where we're headed. Let me just start with, we'll start with precinct 1 and go around the precincts. That's fine with y'all. That's okay with y'all.
Yeah.
We should be done with the precinct 1 Lorena site today, as far as all the hard line and antennas, and that work should be complete today. And then we move on to precinct 2. Both of those sites will be substantially complete and ready to go live once we, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, once we submit the application for the renewal of the license and get that done. And that's also the agenda for later. So we'll talk about that. But all that work at the Lorena site, there's a couple of punch list items that are occurring when it comes to electricals and breaker work. But the bulk of it is done, and the tower climb had to be, it's supposed to been done last week, or this weekend, but the wind was so high they couldn't climb. So the wind died down yesterday enough for them to get up on the towers and begin to pull the hard line and get the antennas in place. Also, we're scheduled to also do some line sweeps and some work at the Heart of Texas tower site later this month, which is going to check our throughput to make sure that our connectivity is good from the current Heart of Texas tower site back to Pine Avenue back into the dispatch console. Precinct 3, heard from the state of Texas yesterday. They were supposed to have gotten us their MOU back to us, their ILA, a couple of weeks ago. And I believe the gentleman spoke too soon. He said he still hasn't received it. So he's calling their legal office to find out where it is. And then he'll get that to us and we can start that process. We are also going to be submitting to the state, since they're going to be doing the bid, and they also want to kind of stay in line with everything else we're doing. So we're going to be submitting, Ken Bass is working on this, and myself and John is submitting to the state our scope of work, essentially, or what we think the tower should look like to accommodate what our load is going to be. And they will essentially use that for their bid package. And so that is still going forward, and their commitment is still there to build that tower site. Precinct 4, we are still in a holding pattern through the FAA for kind of final clearance. We should receive that around the 15th of this month, which if that happens, then we'll be good to go and begin that process of building out there. There are some things on hold for that, which we've got to supply to Terracon, which is doing our environmental assessment and some of our other state historical preservation surveys and things of that nature. And so that will start. You also notice on the agenda, there's a line item for renewal of a a license, a temporary renewal. That is something typically we have done our own renewals in-house for many years. When Wayne Kennedy was there and Larry Blair with the city, we did our own renewals. This is a renewal which we're actually, what we're paying for is not the license, but for the paperwork to be done. My intent or goal would be that we would go ahead and allow Motorola to do this for the first 6 months, and then working with John and whoever's the city, decide whether we want to continue to pay for that going forward with Motorola. But that is something that we could bring in-house and we could do. It's all filed online. It's just a matter of going through the filing process and to do the renewal paperwork. So there's also another item that I think we need to discuss, and that is we are working on a waiver, which will be sent to, actually it's going to have the city of Waco is going to send it on their behalf, but it was drafted by Motorola to the Federal Communications Commission. We are in, back in 90, and I'm going to try to do this as simple as possible. When 9/11 occurred, they created a border zone, which involved 800 megahertz for communication along the border. Now, we, as in McLennan County, are not even close to that, but all the states are broke up in regions. So there is one county that is on the border of where that line comes to meet, where they created this zone. And what that did is it capped how much power outage you can have and some of the frequency utilization. They were supposed to have released that last year, but that, what they call a border freeze, for lack of a better word, was still in place. So the city of Waco is going to be sending a waiver to ask them to go ahead and release that, so then we can actually increase our output, but also the frequencies that we're using will be clear and free of any kind of interference or any kind of documentation that would show that there's an issue. So that the city of Waco is working on that. I checked with Elizabeth yesterday. It is in legal, being reviewed, and should go out. So that's kind of where we are as a total. Now, this is where we're headed. Hopefully, with the submission of with approval today to submit for those temporary frequency allocation and renewal, and the work gets completed at the March side for Precinct 2, we will be able to bring, and the line sweeps and all those things go well from the heart of Texas back to the Pine Avenue. We should be able to turn those sites on sometime in March, mid-March. So Precinct 1 and 2 will come online sometime in mid-March. There will be another submission come back to court at some point in time because we're splitting off 3 and 4 from our original submission for frequencies, just because it's the right thing to do, because we don't have those towers up and we don't want to delay bringing some of the sites that are ready to go up. It's not a whole lot more money to do it that way, but there is some additional expense. I would recommend we do that. That way, at least we can get our Precinct 1 and 2 up and running. And that should be, if everything goes well, like I said, that should be that mid-March to late March timeframe. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to take any questions.
Okay, any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Judge, what are we approving? Just
Well, just for recording purposes, approve the report for recording purposes.
So move.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
And Judge, if we could go ahead and consider action on the other 2 items that Frank touched on. P1 is authorization of communication site lease agreement with the Department of Public Safety. This item will need to be deferred. As Frank said, we still haven't received that back from DPS.
Okay.
Motion to defer.
All right, thank you. Is there a second? I'll
Second.
second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Item P2 is discussion interaction regarding STA license renewal quote. This is that special temporary authority license that Frank mentioned. It shows in your packet that the total would be $1,960. That would actually be for 2 6-month renewals. We only need to approve one of those at $980. Then we hope to be able to do the paperwork in 6 months from now.
Okay.
Dustin, what are these other? There's an FCC filing change and an additional FCC application on this.
Those are alternates at this time that we do not need. It may be something we have to do down the line. Frank, is that correct?
That is correct. That is, so breaking out in our original scope of work, there was money allocated to do all the filing fees and all of the FCC work based on all 4 sites being done at the same time. Because the other 2 sites are not built yet, it's smarter for us to go ahead and bring up site 1 and 2 that we have existing, breaks the precinct 3 and 4 away. What that's going to do is there is going to be some incremental cost with that, obviously, because now they're duplicating paperwork. That is really what this is driven towards. If we have to do some reconfiguration, there's nothing set in stone with that. These were just things that contingencies that could happen. So to be very transparent of the things that could happen, we asked Motorola to provide that information for us. They actually sent me a revised structure last night late because I questioned the dollar amount they were quoting us because it seemed a little high, being that we already included some of that work in the original scope of work. So they've come back with a revised, but those are contingencies, that things that could happen, which we could require us to do some re-engineering of the frequencies, that could require some additional things on top of what they originally quoted. So that's what those are.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay. Any other discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Shelton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
All right, and sorry to jump around a little bit more. We've got a few other visitors under item H3, authorization of memorandum of understanding with Heart of Texas Homeless Coalition regarding McLennan County homeless and unclaimed decedents. I'd like to call on Heather Travers and Sean Lee from MHMR.
Morning.
Morning.
This is the formal proposal from the conversation that we had at our last meeting regarding that partnership with the Heart of Texas Homeless Coalition. And I've submitted a formal proposal, draft MOU, and also a rough draft copy of the publication that we would also submit. Do you want me to go through it, or is there any questions?
Just an overview.
Okay, so the MOU would entail a relationship, a partnership with the Homeless Coalition. And what we would do is annually release the names of any paupers, decedents that we process through our pauper policy here at McLennan County. Those names would be added to other names with other coalition partners. And then that would be the list that then would be annually published in the newspaper. And then also those names would be read at the annual memorial service. And that would just be held at an altering site each year at a church in the county on or around the month of February. The names would be read, candles would be lit. It would just be a way to honor those lives. And then I know we had discussed different types of publication when I mentioned it last time. And after working with Sean they were able to put this together, the cost associated with having each individual name listed in the newspaper could get rather expensive. So what Sean has done is created this document, which is a tribute style. It would be published in the newspaper, but we would also be able to share it on our social media and websites, which would then make the individual names searchable. And Sean, you can chime in if I'm not explaining that correctly. But once this publication was put like on the Homeless Coalition website, then if a family member was searching for a particular name, it would then link to that website, Homeless Coalition, and then be linked also to us here at the county. I also asked for an amount not to exceed 500. I don't anticipate that much. I think we kind of have it this year at about 250 that it would cost for the publication in the newspaper. But I just went ahead and, you know, kind of locked that in there. That way I'm not having to come back if it exceeded 250 one year. It kind of gave us a broader range of funds available.
Okay. All right. Any questions anyone have?
I don't have any questions, but I would like to thank Heather and also the Homeless Coalition for this initiative. I think when we humanize people and get a full understanding that they had significant lives, that they have loved ones, when you put the humanity behind that, I think it will cause us to treat them better and to fully share in the loss when we lose people, along with being a database for people to be able to reach out, and maybe if you lost touch with a loved one, to be able to find them. So I just commend them for this initiative, and it's so low when it comes to the fiscal impact that I think the benefits far outweigh anything else. And again, I was always excited when Heather came to the county, and she just continues to just prove me right.
Mhm. Good. Okay, thank you, Commissioner. And so I would assume you would make a motion to approve this MOU.
Yes, sir. That is a motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Under item K3, discussion and possible action to pursue a grant application for Elmont Water Control and Improvement District. I'd like to call on David from Langford Community Management and also Rhonda from Elmont Water. David, are you on?
David, are you there?
Judge, if not, I can start out. There's some available funding that, similar to what we applied for Elmont Water before, where there's a maximum $350,000 grant available. The grant application is due in May. There are some steps to get there where we would have to procure engineering and then also a grant management company to handle it. There is a 20% match on that grant, and I believe Elmont Water has a few projects in mind. So Rhonda, I'll turn it over to you to discuss those.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Rhonda, you must have two devices.
I do.
there. Turn the sound off.
I don't know how.
You might, Rhonda, if you could turn the sound down on your laptop that you logged into Zoom on, that might do it. And Judge, I know a little bit about these projects. I visited with Rhonda this morning. There are some cooling towers that need to be upgraded, and there's also some water line replacements. We wanted to bring this to the court to get some direction if it's okay to move forward with this project. And if so, Ken and I will work to bring the necessary items back for the February 16th agenda.
Okay. Are there any questions?
This is similar to the water meter project, and we're just the sponsoring entity. We'll Ken and Dustin will help out. And I believe that their expenses are reimbursable. Is that correct, Dustin?
Yes, that's right. They are reimbursable through the grant as administrative costs.
So. And
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, Judge Felton. Okay, so we would first of all like to thank y'all for the meters, because that has been a true blessing. Now we would like to proceed with another grant for a cooling tower that we have water that is pouring out of the top and the bottom, and it's far outlived its life expectancy. We also want to completely go ahead and replace the water and the sewer lines, if applicable, in the Pels Edition. So the Pels Edition here that entails oak forest, wood forest, oak lane, and edge forest here in Elmont, so the roads could be repaved. So with that being said, we would like to move forward with the grant with, I don't know if David's on, with Langford.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So that's what we would like to do with that grant money, is get a cooling tower and replace most of the things that the water, any sewer, anything else that we can put the funding to would be a great help.
Okay. All right. And David's on as well. Does anyone have any questions for Rhonda or David? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you, Rhonda and David.
Thank you, Judge Felton. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioner.
You bet.
All right, moving on to item O2 regarding the construction manager at risk agreement with John W. Irwin General Contractor. Under O2B, we have consideration and action on guaranteed maximum price proposal for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, part 2. So Kevin. Judge,
Kevin, you're on mute.
I see Kevin on the line, but it is muted.
Kevin, if you're talking, you're muted.
Judge, I'll send him a message, and we have a couple other items that Wes. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, sorry. I stepped to get a cup of coffee and I wasn't sure the water discussions were done. Good morning, everybody. Can Dustin and commissioners and judge, can y'all see my screen now as well?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is kind of a follow-up to the discussions we had at the last meeting. So we put together kind of an additional package that constitutes basically the bulk of the F&E furnishings for the Expo Center itself. This package is really the furniture package. It's tables, it's chairs, it's potential 2 different types of banquet tables. It's indoor trash cans, outdoor trash cans, some outdoor furniture for the front porch area. It's a performance stage for the interior of the expo hall. It's also small, they call them stages, but I would call them presentation platforms for each of the individual meeting rooms. So if you have a speaker, they're set up on a small platform, basically. It's podiums, it's kind of all of the things that the expo center would need to host all the other non-sports related type events in the facilities, from meetings to banquets. So really the package is kind of the complement to the food service equipment that we went through last time, as well as the sports flooring and sports equipment package. And so this kind of final package was put together in consultation with the HOT staff. So I think it provides basically the balance of the furnishings that they're looking for. That's really what we're kind of here. Sorry, my screen seems to be locking up. Sorry about that. That's kind of what we're here, is that last final furniture and furnishings package, I would call it, for the Expo Center, is what's before the court today. I think, again, we would use unused budget funds and unallocated contingencies that were, basically as a result of cost underruns on the Expo Center project itself, just like we did for the prior package. So kind of this final package in front of you today is to the tune of $619,000, and which is kind of the estimate that I have before you. So really that's what we're requesting approval for, so we can proceed with the procurement of this final FF&E package. We're thinking, based on the schedule, the bulk of the furniture and stages and podiums and the miscellaneous furnishings, there's about an 8-week lead time. So I think once we get it actually procured and ordered, we're thinking that by the first part of April, all of this would be here. There is one component. There's these banquet chairs that are part of this. They're from a company called Mighty Light. They've got about a 12-week lead time. We're trying to make some improvements on that. But with that being said, the bulk of the package would finish in April. And then if the Mighty Light banquet chair lead time holds, we would not be able to deliver those chairs till mid-May. We're working with the furniture vendors to see if we can get that approved. So that's really the only piece from a schedule perspective. So anyway, I think we're here requesting approval for us to proceed with this second FF&E package.
Okay, any questions anyone have? Okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second. Any other discussion?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm understanding is this 600,000 was not part of the 900,000 that we approved at the last meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. This is in addition to the 900,000 consisted of the food service equipment and then all the sports flooring and sports related equipment. This is
and Dustin, this 600,000 today is within our budget and within the cost,
Yes,
original
sir.
cost.
These were to be considered additional, but we will be returned some savings from the base itself, over 1.9 million that the FF&E can be paid from. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
All right, we have a couple other items that Wes is on the call to be available for. So we'll go to L1, Heart of Texas Fair Extraco Event Center Authorization of Capital Improvement Project. As the court remembers, last court we approved a few projects from the 100,000 spin. Fairs received a second part, a quote for the second part of the electrical work at the Stallborn, and this totals $32,525. So this just needs to be added to the list of approved projects.
Okay, any questions about that?
That's within the budget, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
All right, under H9, authorization of rental agreement and related proposal with McLennan County Fair Incorporating doing business as Extraco Event Center regarding jury selection and trial venue. John, would you like to go over this?
Sure. I believe what we have before us is the substituted order that Mike Dixon prepared. Is that right, Dustin?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, so it's
No, but you should have the agreement. I haven't done the order yet.
Yeah, it's the agreement, Mike, that replaced the lease agreement that you drafted. Yes, sir.
Right.
and so what we're talking about is being able to have juries sometime this year. The only place we've been able to find that can host multiple voir dires and multiple trials at once is this venue that luckily the county already started building. So if we're able to utilize this facility, we can do 3 voir dires simultaneously, ensure that we meet all of the social distancing and other protective measures that are required when jury trials are allowed. We're currently under a moratorium that started in mid-December when the Supreme Court rescinded the approval for jury trials. And the current order expires April 1st. So we'll see if we're able to go in early April or whether that's an April Fool's joke gone awry. But basically, if we're able to use this, we could get 3 trials going at once there and eventually scale up to having both of our county courts going as well.
And John, you had also had looked at the convention center and talked to them about pricing and those kind of things. So how did it, what was the issues there?
So while we had contracts that y'all approved for various reasons, some of them health related, some of them court and scheduling related, we never actually got to have a trial there. We were potentially going to get to have 2 voir dires there, which would be 1 or 2 days of rental time per week at a time. The convention center might be bigger than the facility that we're renting, but the way that this one is configured is much more suited to having multiple voir dires and being able to keep the people distanced. So we would actually be at a lower cost per day or right around the same cost per day, and would be able to do 3 trials versus 2 with the scalable ability of using the district courtrooms for the county courts. So we could actually have 5 or more trials in a week. If you looked at the schedule that was shared through the documents over the last week, there's several weeks that have 2 days only, and that's not really useful to the district courts. So what Judge Menard and I had talked about was potentially having those 2-day weeks available for the county courts and JPs to cycle in, because they've got a list of trial demands as well. So through this schedule that we have available from the event center, we would be able to actually fold in all of the JP, county courts, and district court. They would all get turns at the table through the end of December is kind of the contract period.
In regards to security, there was a few security concerns at the convention center, and we may have, similar concerns at the base.
Well, so some of those concerns are probably not best publicized because they.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But there were
Good point.
concerns, and some of it had to do with just the number of doors. I think this is fair to talk about at the convention center. There's so many entrances at the convention center. It makes it really hard for our courthouse security team to man it with their staff. Parnell would have potentially had to pull in a lot of resources that were otherwise dedicated for us to be able to use that facility. The nice thing about the event center is they have a very modern security system and door system that is just being installed as it's built. And with them being closely tied to the county, we have a good operating handle on what that would take.
Okay. Any questions for John? Yeah, Commissioner Reynolds.
You're getting used to me, aren't you, Judge?
Go ahead.
The figure that you put in your documents, this figure that's right under 260,000, that will fluctuate based on if you all keep all the dates in your schedule.
So one of the more favorable items of this contract, Commissioner, is that we can cancel the use of it without any financial ramifications up to Friday at noon the week before. So that way, a lot of these weeks, if there aren't trials, or if the Supreme Court doesn't open it up for us having trials, none of that money is actually committed or being spent.
Okay, does that money include the lunch totals? And where are we getting that lunch?
So I believe you might be looking at their original contract proposal. Dustin and Mike had worked out a different proposal from the county to the event center. And it basically caps the amount that we would spend on lunch on Voir d'Ire Day, which is our heavy day, because we have a lot of people there for Voir d'Ire, at $12 per meal. And then for the actual jurors on subsequent days and trials, it would be capped at $24 a meal.
Right, that's what I'm looking at. So are they going out to lunch, or are we providing lunch at the center? Is that a back porch figure? Where are they going to lunch? We're paying up to $24 for lunch.
Sure. So I'm not sure where the $24 came from. Wes could probably speak to that, but one of the things that Dr. Werner had wanted us, in order for us to ensure the safety of the public, was to have meals provided for them so that they didn't have to go out somewhere else, get in contact with a lot of other people. And so, like on a Voir d'Ire Day for 3 district courts, we're looking at between 140 and 180 people going out somewhere. So let's pretend like those people go out to 30 different restaurants. They're going to get exposed to a ton of people, and then they're going to come back into an environment and sit next to all these people. So we're talking about a lot of cross-pollination there in a inside environment. So the idea being, during the Twin Peaks trial, for security reasons and for other reasons, we've provided meals under the normal course of trial. So for this reason would be more safety concerns, so that Farley Werner could sign off on us meeting what he would like us to see for safety concerns.
And Commissioner Miller, I might add to that, that is a figure that would be, you would spend no more than that. You don't have to spend that amount of money. I mean, that is up to the selection that I assume John or the judges would make for those meals. So a bologna sandwich is cheap, but they might not want bologna every week.
So it is the meal cost, is that on top of the 260,000?
Correct, it is, because there's no way for us to estimate that without a given number of people that you're going to have in there.
Okay, but all of this is coming out of your budget, Mr. District Clerk?
I believe the county judge is having us come out of some sort of COVID funding. I'm not certain what the source of the funding is.
Oh, okay. Dustin, could you address that? Then this 260,000 max rental agreement, and then the meals on top, is that reimbursable under the COVID funding that we get?
It would be something that would be, but we're maxed out right now. So it would take additional COVID grant funding or relief to be able to apply this. But under the CARES Act, we are maxed out on the way we categorize personnel. So it would be an additional expense that would have to come from some line item in the budget. Could come from contingency or wherever, but it would have to be funded. And then if additional funding became available, it could possibly be a reimbursable expense.
And one thing to remember, it's not necessarily $260,000. It's $2,500 a day or $10,000 per week, because we still have the ability to control our costs by, canceling on the Friday before, if, as usually happens, somebody settles a suit or something happens that causes the lawsuit, the jury trial not to go. We don't get, it's not a take or pay. It's, as long as we let them know by Friday afternoon that we're not going to be taking any time the next week, then we don't have to pay for it.
Okay.
I've got a question, please.
Yeah, I've got some questions. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay. My understanding, you mentioned 120, 140 jurors a day. Is that correct, John?
The first day for voir dire, each criminal district trial requires 60 people for voir dire. And then we're going to have one set up for rotation between the civil courts once we're fully online. What's most likely the first couple of weeks that we're able to go would probably just be the 2 criminal district courts and maybe one or two of our county courts at law. The civil courts are wanting to let the criminal courts kind of be the guinea pigs. And there's obviously a little bit more of a pressing need with people having a little bit more adamant demand for a criminal jury. Some of them are sitting in jail. We've got a dozen or so people that have been there for 2 or 3 years, and their only release potentially is a jury trial. They're not wanting to sign up for a 40-year plea deal. Does that kind of answer?
Yeah, the point I would make is if, let's say we go to a 2-day jury trial. So we're going to feed them lunch and then release them at the end of the day to go eat anywhere they want to.
That's true. We're going off of kind of what we're being, I wouldn't say necessarily required, but highly suggested from Werner so that he feels comfortable signing off on our plan. And that's one of the requirements from the Supreme Court is us to get his advice and blessing before we have public events like this that put the public at risk.
I'm just not sure how that makes a lot of sense.
Well, in jury trials, they don't necessarily stop at 5 o'clock. And you may break for a dinner and then pick back up. And, you know, it's not like we're handing them $24 and telling them to go out to eat once they head home. If there's not a need for an evening meal, then we just don't serve them an evening meal. And we save the $24.
That's true, but if the purpose is to isolate them so that they don't go out and all 120, 140 of them go different places and bring back COVID with them and infect everyone, if they leave in the afternoon to come back the next day, you have no control over where they're going, Mike. So it seems to defeat the purpose to hold them all at lunch and then turn them loose at night.
Commissioner Smith, that's a good point. The other thing I didn't cover was the next day, only probably 14 of those jurors are coming back at the most. It'd be 12 jurors and then maybe an alternate or 2 in case someone gets sick during the trial.
Well, the thought is that they will return to their households, you know, but, you know, it's just the way that that it's set up. But I would not see us using many of the nighttime meals. At the daytime, it's as much. I would disagree that it's as much for COVID as it is keeping tabs on your jurors. You let them go out to eat for lunch, half of them aren't going to show back up on time. Somebody's going to have a car wreck. Somebody's going to have, you know, so it's best to keep them on campus for lunch.
You know, some of this is, you know, maybe debatable, but the fact that we've got to get approval from the Public Health Authority to do it, and that was the requirement, that may be what we have to do. I really think that, you know, unless these numbers come down tremendously, which they are starting to trend down, that we could be late summer before we have any trials, which means we almost run out of a budget year as well. So a lot can change, but we have to get started trying to plan it.
John, how many times do you have 5 jury calls?
How many times do we have 5 trials in a week?
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
We're talking pre-COVID, right?
Yeah.
So I would say we're talking, that'd be obviously 2 criminal district courts and both county courts requested a jury and one of our civil. That's at least once a quarter, if not twice a quarter.
Okay.
Since I've been here in 2015, we've had 2 weeks where we had 10 or more jury requests. And one of the things we can do on those short weeks, you saw on the schedule, there's some weeks that are 2 and 3 days. The 2 days are just not useful for district courts. And I think the idea being, if we use those, we'd have them available for JPs, which haven't been able to have any trials as well. And they could have the voir dire and the trial in the morning, and you could have another one do the voir dire and the trial in the afternoon. They're just quick little traffic tickets mostly that need to be cleared out. So some of those shorter days that wouldn't be useful for the district court system, we could still fold in and help clear dockets in our other courts. Is that kind of what you're looking for, Will?
Yeah. And so there's also a paragraph on this agreement, paragraph 12, the county will be responsible for any cleaning or requests that are above and beyond the facility's normal work duties. What is going to be above and beyond?
Well, it'd be generally if you.
I mean, are we going to have to come over there and disinfect everything like we are at the courthouse right now? Or is that going to be the fair's responsibility?
I think
or is that
we'll have to talk to
has that
Wes
been?
about that.
And that would probably be most needed between the Monday and the Tuesday when you have 60 people in the courtroom. If you get down to a trial setting, they're going to sit in the exact same chair. So I'm not sure that you need to disinfect between someone going home and coming back the next day.
Commissioner Jones, I would say that our standard, disinfecting cleaning procedures that we currently have in place would be done. There would only be, that's written in there. So if there are excessive requirements from a standpoint of conducting the court, or conducting the trial or the voir dire or whatever placed on the court, then there would be a responsibility from that, because we may not have the ability or capability to do that. I'm not going to say we don't have the ability, we just may not have the capabilities to do that.
It just seems like a lot to for our own building that we own, and our I sent some questions about the pricing. Yes.
Did you get them answered?
No.
Who'd you send them to?
Dustin.
Judge, he'd sent them to me, and Commissioner, that's part of why Wes is on the line this morning for this too. He can touch on the pricing.
Yeah, Wes, if you don't mind, go over that.
The pricing is basically, if you will, a net cost pricing for operating the building in those time periods at that daily rate, knowing that again, when you assume cleaning, utilities, all those kind of things, staffing that will be required to be there with, then that's what that daily price covers. And so we tried to look at it that way in what we were doing.
And Wes, this is a discounted price as opposed to what you would be charging somebody for a private event, right?
Yes, it is, Mike. That's correct.
And especially when you take the fact that the option is on Friday, you can cancel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's some opportunity cost here too that we're giving up from that standpoint, Judge Felton, in that we won't have the option to refill this building if you cancel on a Friday.
And just to be clear, although the Commissioners Court and the venue board are the same people, it's actually two different entities. And so when the venue vote passed, or the order for the venue creation, it was expected that it would course, have revenue, first line of revenues from the venue, tax revenue from hotels and rental cars, but the other is the operation of the facility. And so we're asking the venue entity is asking the Heart of Texas Fair Association to manage it to the best benefit of the community, which means, you know, having events there where people come into town, they stay at the hotels. It actually, it's a kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy to create this and then have drawing more, but also the rental income that comes back in it as well. And so there has to be, we expect the Heart of Texas Fair Association to operate it profitably. And the fact that we're two different entities, it's not like that the county owns it and gets the, you know, gets a discount. If you take the convention center, if any of the departments of the city want to utilize the convention center, they have to pay for it. And so I really look at it differently, Commissioner Jones, than you do.
I mean, we owned it, we levied the tax, you know, and I guess we see it differently. So
okay.
I've had some questions about why we'd be paying $10,000 a week rent on a building that, you know, we own and have just recently built.
We're talking about the Extraco Center and the Extraco Center base building. You know, if I remember right, there was a lot of private money, actually fair money, that went into building that. Is that not correct?
When has the fair contributed money other than the initial, you know?
I don't think it's a requirement that they do that, but I can tell you in the past that they borrowed a considerable amount of money from local banks to build the stall barn, what's called the stall barn that's closest to Lake Air. They paid for that out of operating expenses.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
That was not funded by bonds. And, you know, they have spent money in the past to do that. But the idea is to, you know, we encourage that actually, you know, because it creates a more of a draw by having more usable assets out there that creates a larger economic impact back into the community. So they have, that's just one example, but where they have spent money.
And so I have one other question for Wes. And have you had to not give up a reservation or deny a group? Have you started taking reservations for the center yet?
Yes, Commissioner. We've been actually working on that for almost a year now, in trying to project, you know, when we would open and those kind of things. And so when we started working with John, then we looked at those available dates we had, you know, obviously those can change when we're talking about all the way through December, as far as, you know, when we open the building and folks looking at that and when they're doing an event. So to answer your question, no, we haven't turned one down because we don't have this agreement in place at this time, other than those dates are on hold. So.
Plus, this is during the week, and generally your high demand times are weekends, correct?
Yeah, I think the biggest concern that this will create, or the biggest issue this will create for us, is that if there's a jury trial that goes through Thursday or potentially even Friday, although I know that's not normal, then it puts additional pressure on us and additional cost on us to get ready for an event, because we cannot be in the building doing any setup while those trials are going on, because we don't want to disturb them. So there's some opportunity cost, I guess, if you will, about you know, future events during this time and what we can and can't do, because it's kind of like renting horse stalls. It does us no good to have a one-day event out here financially or economically impactful on the county if nobody's staying in a hotel. And so it's, same way in the stall business, same way in this business, is we need to be able to have multi-day events.
Now, John, you're just talking about having Vordaer there, right? You're not talking about the whole full-blown trial, are you?
For the district courts, we've got one courtroom set up that meets COVID compliance. It's the visiting courtroom where we normally greet 200 or 300 people for Vordaer. Once we got it distanced out, it has a capacity for 44 people other than the staff. So you've got your judge, your court reporter, and court staff and bailiffs. You can have 44 more people in that room that used to hold about 300. So we've got one district court potential here, and then we'd be able to have 2 district court trials there. The county courts on those busier weeks where we have, full weeks and potentially 3 district courts going, they could use some of the empty district courts for their Vordaer, because those will hold 30 plus to 40. Some of the courtrooms are slightly bigger than others. And so they could upgrade to those facilities. And so we could still, that's how we get up to 5 potential trials in a week. But the JP rooms, I'm not sure if any of their courtrooms are COVID compliant as far as spacing, because they have to have 15 people plus court personnel. You're still in the mid-20s. And I don't believe any of their facilities you'd be able to stretch out and have that many people in there. So the only way we can potentially fold them in is those shorter weeks. Is that what you're looking for, Will?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, this agreement, I'm going to have to modify it because I was under the impression that we were talking about the Extraco Center, not the new Expo Center. And so there's some language in there about Extraco, but we also need to do an order that allows, that treats this as an auxiliary courtroom. And so it would be good to do the order and the agreement at the same time. I would suggest to give us time to clean up the agreement and to get the order done, that so that they could both be approved together, that it's passed to the 16th.
Well, the order can happen anytime ahead of us using it, Mike.
That's true.
Hey, Mike, I don't think we specified in that agreement the actual locations. That's part of the attached document. So, I mean, the agreement's right in that it's with us, not with the fair. When I say us, DBAing. So I don't think you have to modify the agreement from a standpoint of unless there's something that that I don't.
Yeah, let me look and see.
Hey, while he's doing that, Dustin, if we spend the entire $260,000, where's that coming from?
It would have to be moved from a line item in budget and probably most likely contingency, because I don't know if John has any funds available, but I'm sure they would probably be small. And I see Francis just jumped on in case she can add something, but I would imagine it would have to be a contingency transfer, Commissioner.
And we could utilize some of the jury pay that we have allocated. Last year we didn't, and starting in March, we didn't pay for a single regular juror. And I believe there's $200,000 or $300,000 sitting there, but at the same time, you have to leave some there to pay the jurors.
And I think, once this gets started, we can help monitor it with John and week by week, see what we're needing and what we're short, and then, bring budget amendments if needed to you throughout the process, so you can monitor on what the costs actually are. But it would, like Dustin said, it would have to come from another line item within the budget. So contingencies, or, sometimes later in the year, we know a line item where there may be excess funds. And that could be, payroll line items due to vacancies, or just other line items where the costs aren't exactly what we anticipated.
Okay, I see a couple of places where Extraco Center is used, Extraco Center base facility. And there's another one, Extra Coast Center personnel. So I just have to change those two references. Make clear it's Expo Center.
I'm not sure how soon you would get this up and going and have people coming into the facility, but it looks like if we're about what, 5 months, if we take it from April through September, we're talking about maybe 5 to 6 months of this fiscal year. And then maybe prayerfully, as we move further into the vaccination process and try to get a handle on the pandemic itself, perhaps we'll move where we won't need this type of agreement and spacing. Am I correct on that we're just looking at maybe 5 to 6 months in this fiscal year? Take us to about around September, and hopefully things will look better as far as the pandemic. I guess that's a Judge Felton question.
Well, and on the money side, thinking about it while we're talking, there's no way we're going to spend the $268,000 or $300,000 of jury pay. So, I mean, why not pay for half of it out of that? I mean, that's tax money that's already been committed towards jury expenses to make it a little lighter footprint on the budget.
Wes, were you going to add something or?
I was going to say, hey, Mike Dixon, the name of the building is Base, not Expo Center, even though we've been using that because it didn't have a name when it first started getting built, but it was named at the court. So you can certainly drop the Expo Center part of that, but I mean,
It actually says Extra Coast Center.
I mean, Extra Co, I mean, that Extra Co Event Center is the whole facility. Base is the specific building that we're talking about. So yeah, you may have to modify that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can jump offline after this over, Mike. I'm happy to work through that with you, man.
Any other questions or comments?
I guess the only thing I want to ask real quickly, because it can be somewhat confusing, and I do understand that it's not truly the ad valorem tax McLennan County taxpayers paying for it. It's the hotel, motel, and automobile. So technically it's coming from our hotels out of their revenue.
Plus operating revenue.
Okay.
Rental.
But what I'm getting at, should the venue board be involved in making any of these decisions, or strictly between the fairground and the county and the county court?
There is technically no venue board. You are the venue. To the extent you can say there's a venue board, the commissioner's court is the venue board. We didn't set up under the statute that creates a separate venue board. It's you all are it. So it's just kind of, when you say venue board, you're just talking about yourselves.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to my question about the fiscal years, because his schedule goes into fiscal year 2022. If I'm looking at it right, it looks like it goes into October 18th, and then it goes on throughout the calendar year. So my question was, when you look at how the schedule is anticipated to start in April, are we just looking at 5 months of this fiscal year? So in essence, is that $260,000 reflective of what we'll spend this fiscal year? That was my question. And I really was asking the judge and Francis.
So if the total amount, of course, does span 2 fiscal years, then, whatever's in this fiscal year, like we said, if we need to do budget amendments or find funding in other lines, then we will do that. But we can, we'll move into budget discussions early summer. So then we can insert into the budget for 2022 any costs that we think will flow over into that next year. Does that answer your question?
It does, because see, I was looking at that 258,000 figure, but I think it takes in those dates from October through December. So I was thinking that figure is probably lower.
I would agree.
I had a spreadsheet that I created for this, that just had the dates on it, and I counted up the dates while y'all were talking, and it's actually $155,000 in this year if we used every date that was available.
Calendar year or?
In the fiscal year.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Dustin, would this, so if we weren't maxed out, would this be reimbursable possibly?
I mean, I think it could be a possible expense. It's definitely COVID related because we can't house them in the courtroom. It'd be something we'd have to look at more. Of course, it would take new legislation and new funding to do it. So those requirements could change. That would be the one caveat, I guess.
Any other questions? Okay, what's the pleasure of the court?
I'm comfortable making the motion to approve the agreement with the understanding of what we're really committing for this fiscal year. The lunch amount unknown kind of makes me uneasy, but when I hear the auditor's office say that they're going to monitor it and give us periodically expense reports on how we're doing, then I'm pretty clear as far as what he's asking. So I wouldn't have a problem making the motion to approve based on that.
Could I add to your motion with corrections, 2 corrections to be made by the county legal?
Oh, okay. You're talking about the semantics in the agreement on the name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would include that.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion?
I do have another question to ask with regards to this. Who will be responsible for, I guess, negotiating with Dr. Varner with regards to whether or not we have to adhere to the lunch rule? Is it going to be the fairground? Is it going to be the court? Who would be the responsible party for that?
It'd be the court, and we would have to, we would work with Dr. Varner and the Public Health District to develop the final protocols. And then that would come back to the court for recording purposes. And John will be involved because he'll have to make sure everything's in place for that to happen. So Dustin, would you agree or have a different view on that?
Yes or no, I think that's a good approach. He will ultimately have to sign off on the plan that Judge Menard prepares, and so we can handle it that way.
Okay. All right. We have a motion in a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Abstain.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Okay, Dustin.
All right, Judge, do you want to do the venue item now?
Yeah, go ahead and do the venue item and then we'll recess.
All right, under item H, contracts interlocal agreements, under H1, we have authorization of final 3-party interlocal cooperation agreement between the county, the city of Waco, and Waco Independent School District. So Mike, do you want to summarize this?
Yes, very, very complicated contract, but what happened is when you start, you look at your venue footprint, you find out that the equestrian center, which is one of the things we really want, would be located on Paul Tyson Field. So that takes us swapping. What it boils down to is that starts a domino effect of property swaps between the stakeholders, being Waco ISD, the city of Waco, and the county, and also creates the need for reimbursement for facilities that have to be torn down. So essentially, this goes through the process of getting the footprint for the equestrian center, and the other trades or conveyances that would be required for that to happen. Plus, it addresses the reimbursement for example, for the movement and rebuilding of the ball fields and the stadium. The way that is set up, we have an initial payment, but the stakeholders are currently, would be sharing in in future excess operational funds to a certain percent to get the rest of it, to get the rest of the payment for their reimbursement. But again, it is a very complicated situation because just that footprint change sets off a whole different level of conveyances and changes on the broader tract of property. But this has been a long negotiation, and we finally have buy-in by the district and the city. So that's why we're bringing it to you today. Anything else you think I ought to cover, Dustin?
No, Mike, I really think, I think that covers it, and it has some timelines for when the payments need to be made that are included in the interlocal. So if there's any questions on those, we can address that.
So they're aware of the shortfalls in the in the revenue stream.
Yes, Commissioner. In fact, the numbers that we got to estimate or project what those revenues would be came from the city, from the Waco Tourism Bureau. So they helped put those numbers together. And of course, the WISD, we shared that with them, and then they carried that to their board and their school board. Hopefully those are very conservative, and the vaccination program works, and things change quite rapidly, maybe some pent up demand. We do have more hotel rooms and more expensive rooms and more meeting facilities when we start back up than we had when this deal started shutting down. But they understand. I mean, they're suffering just like everybody else. So I think that's fairly clear that kind of the thing that's been challenging is since we started this, there's been three different superintendents, and 3 city manager changes. And so we've had to keep good notes and go back over where we left off. But I want to compliment both the city and the WISD and their representatives for staying hooked and working towards getting this to realization.
I think the district may have already approved it.
They did, and then the city council takes it up today, and so if we get our approval, then it'll be a done deal by sundown. So, any other questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you. All right, Dustin, you have one other item or?
Yes, sir. If we could do the consent agenda real quick, that way we could start getting the checks processing and include the check run. So the suggested pulls are E1C, E3A, E6A, and E6C.
Okay, and we've already approved the, let's see which one. Did we approve one of these?
E3B, yes, sir. That
Yeah,
one's
E3B. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of these three pulls, of these four pulls? Five pulls of which one's already been approved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
He just stepped out, so we can.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Okay, Dustin, anything before we take a recess?
Judge, I think we can go ahead and recess.
All right, it's 10:51. Let's go back into session at 10:56.
The recording has stopped.
Okay, it is 10:56. I'd like to call a member of the Commissioners Court back to order. Dustin?
All right, Judge, you want to go ahead and take care of the other consent agenda items? We do have the emergency rental assistance item that I know Mike's on the line for. If we want to jump to it, sorry to keep jumping around.
Well, let's go to, yeah, let's do that one.
Sorry, let me scroll down to it. It is item K1B.
I know.
And it is actually K1 regarding the U.S. Department of Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program. There are two items under it. K1A is acceptance of the grant award, and K1B is discussion regarding program and authorization of interlocal cooperation agreement with the City of Waco for program administration. Under K1A, this is the award that we ratified, or we ratified a certification letter that was sent off back on the January 19th agenda. We have since received confirmation that the funding for this program for McLennan County totals $7,754,147.80. That's been awarded to the county to help with emergency rental assistance. Having visited with Mike and others, we know that the City of Waco is well equipped to handle these types of programs. So Mike had put together an interlocal with them. It's still being reviewed by city legal, where the city would develop a program to administer this countywide, including all entities and the unincorporated areas of the county. We think that's a great way to handle this program. City did a great job with the funds before for the small business assistance that the county partnered with, and we worked closely with those departments. So under K1A, we would need a motion to approve the grant award, and then K1B would need to be deferred at this time.
Okay. Any questions anyone would have?
Yes, real quickly. I think, Dustin, I asked you this last time and my memory fails me at the moment, but this is not for commercial properties, only residential.
That is correct. Yes, sir. Just residential.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the grant award?
So move.
Is there a second? Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you. On item K1B, is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
All right, so moving back to the top of the agenda to under item E1C, this is recording of Texas Commission on Jail Standards Certificate of Compliance from McLennan County Jail. So, Judge?
Okay, Major Armstrong, are you on the line?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you and your staff on a fine job getting an excellent report from the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. And I know you have some folks you want to thank as well.
I do. Thank you, Judge. First, I'd like to recognize our staff just for the outstanding job they do every day, particularly the officers that the inspector mentioned in his reports. He mentioned life safety reports and how they were excellent. He mentioned our classification officer, Kemp, in the report about how he does a very good job and also shares his knowledge. All the staff that keep both facilities clean, the inspector mentioned that both facilities were very, very clean as well. We have a great group of employees who take pride in working for Sheriff McNamara and the county. So I want to thank the sheriff for his leadership and his support.
Yes.
And, allowing our staff to train and support our staff in the way we operate our jail. And again, one more thing, thank you for the court for supporting us as well with the funding and the help
help us stand out and be one of the better jails in the state. I appreciate y'all as well.
Thank you, Major, and please extend our congratulations to the sheriff and Chief Deputy Gilcrease. And, I know with the court working with you, it's been a pleasure working with you, and you guys have made us proud. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Judge,
Yeah.
I could real quickly, having sat through the closeout, probably one of the most impressive closeouts I've seen. I want to thank the jail commission. Their staff is above all, but you could tell from our inspector that our guys are far and above what they see across the rest of the state. So I just want to point that out. Thank you, Major, for all you do.
My pleasure.
Okay, any other comments?
Yes, congratulations, Ricky.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, at this point, is there a motion to accept the letter from the Texas Commission on Jail Standards for recording purposes?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Sultan,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you.
Under item E3A, it's a human resources matter for Road and Bridge Precinct 1 and Road and Bridge Precinct 4. So Anna and Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Perry.
Go ahead, Anna.
Good morning. So Commissioners Perry and Smith are bringing forward a proposal to combine their administrative assistant positions. The position is currently vacant under Precinct 4, and the position under Precinct 1, that administrative assistant position, is filled currently by Chrissy Brault. They are proposing that they share this administrative assistant position and reclassify it to serve both of the precincts. And in doing so, giving that position more duties, warranting the reclassification, also using the funds from the vacant position under Precinct 4 to increase the budget of the administrative assistant position for Precinct 1, and of course having a major cost savings there related to personnel budget.
And Anna, do you have any issues with this move?
Now, I reviewed the job description that was currently in place for the administrative assistants to the commissioners, and they brought forward duties, some changes to that description, what would be different, which includes additional supervisory duties for now it would be 2 clerical staff at the precincts, and they'd also be more involved in providing hiring and discipline and performance feedback for all precinct workers. And these duties warrant more experience. So that was also updated in what is going to be the new description for this position. So those 2 items, we completed an assessment based on those changes. So the classification would change from an A29 to an A30. And so the description, the functions fits into the recommendation for an A30. And so does the budget requested. So everything falls in line with our current pay structure and with the classification system that we use.
Okay, Commissioner Smith or Commissioner Perry, y'all have anything to add?
Well,
Go ahead.
Okay. Early on, Commissioner Perry and I discussed this item, and we've been working on it at length. I think the thing that has impressed me the most is Mrs. Brault's capability. absolute knowledge of the job and capability. And I won't speak for Commissioner Perry. I'll let him do that. But I am absolutely convinced that she can do the job and handle both precincts and all of the needs. Early on, also, what impressed me, because it was very important to me, was the fact that we could save the county almost $60,000. And I'm all for saving money.
Thank you.
And just to follow up real quickly, and I'll be honest, I went a year without an administrative assistant. And the reason being is whether Chrissy had won the election, obviously I knew I would have to go and hire someone, but in the event she didn't, my target was to get her to move to precinct 4 from precinct 1. When Commissioner Smith won, I'm pretty sure his intentions were to keep her. So we were in a situation where we sat down and visited, and certainly feel that she's capable of performing all the duties that are listed out and spelled out here. We're fortunate that we both have the opportunity to use her and her expertise moving forward. And I just want to thank Anna for your work in this, and thank Commissioner Smith for being willing to sit down and discuss this with me and be willing to use and employ to the fullest of their abilities.
All right. Any other questions anyone would have from the board or comments?
I had a point of clarification that I needed. I've been in the commissioner's office long enough to have seen this idea before, but it was a little different, the situation. 3 commissioners shared one administrative assistant, and she was paid at the same rate as the other administrative assistant. Needless to say, that situation didn't work. So looking at how you all kind of massaged the idea, I think it will set it up to be more successful. I do know Chrissy. I've worked with her ever since she's been here. She's a very sharp young lady. My point of clarification would be, because I like the cost sharing for the county. So the increase, and I guess it's an HR question, the increase is due to the increase in workload, the additional employees she would be supervising, the additional, is it an additional workload, or are we talking about an increase due to a more complex job?
That's a good question, Commissioner. So the complexity of the job is what factored into the reclassification. So that's the move from an 829 to an 830. And then that kind of put up the framework for what salary range we needed to work with. And then from there, considering the amount of extra workload that this position would carry, in addition to the amount of experience that this person carries, then contributed to the salary. The okay. Salary determination.
I could see the increase in workload and the if you're saying the complexity in scheduling the increase in workload, but when you talk about specific functioning, I don't see where she's different from what the other ladies are charged with being responsible for, as far as assignments, projects, and areas in that regard. But I do see the extreme change in work.
So yes, the workload is increased, and then the major, I guess, differences in the description include the additional supervisory duties, okay. Maintaining the confidentiality as required by the Open Meetings Act, which she now has to deal with the nuances of doing that for 2 commissioners rather than just 1. And then she will also, this position is tasked with providing feedback to the commissioner on the performance of road and bridge personnel, not just the clerical duties. And she is, the position is tasked with identifying strengths, weaknesses, providing feedback and guidance and participating more so in the hiring process, the discipline process when needed, and in the period of performance reviews. So that's kind of where the complexity comes,
Okay.
which we thought warranted additional experience required in the position as well.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I guess Commissioner Smith, you see, you got to keep your eye on Commissioner Perry.
I'm doing the best I can, doing the best I can.
I'm glad you called him out on that.
Dustin, I
Well-
have a quick question about the walking quorum. If she is in a meeting with Commissioner Perry and Commissioner Smith, and she speaks to me or Commissioner Felton or Judge Felton or Commissioner Miller, does that constitute a walking quorum? About the
Commissioner,
issue?
I think it would depend on the type of communication. If it's to solicit, to deliberate on an issue, it could be. If it's in terms of
Like if she's going back and forth or something like that?
yeah, if she's going back and forth, soliciting a vote or sharing ideas and details, then yes, sir, that could constitute it. If it's in terms of setting up a meeting or general communication, then it would not.
I guess
we
it'll be
do
all
know-
fine as long as everybody gets along.
That would be very helpful, Commissioner Jones. That truly would.
Because I will, that is, I do remember that Commissioner Gibson saying that until the issues become political, then, it all works out fine.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? I would applaud Commissioner Perry and Smith for this. I think it's anytime you can save the taxpayers money and be more efficient, we need to work in that direction. And I too recognize Chrissy as being a really good talent in our McLennan County workforce. Okay, so let's call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. All right, thank you.
All right, under item E6A, Road and Bridge Precinct 2, recording of 2020 annual report. Commissioner Miller?
Good morning. And Judge, I'm gonna time myself to my 3 minutes. I'm gonna hope I stay under that.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out a few things. First, I wanted to thank LaTronda Reed for developing our annual report. And again, the purpose of our report is to provide documentation for the constituents and the taxpayers, which are constituents in some cases, that the resources we are budgeted are applied the way they should be appropriately. Our report outlines the number of miles and bridges, the type of work and services provided in last fiscal year. I have 17 full-time and 2 part-time employees who maintain our just under 212 miles of road and our 34 bridges that have been recognized by TxDOT, as well as the other culvert structures throughout the precinct. And I am grateful to them every day, and I thank them. I also thank my road foreman, who supervises the crew and outlines our daily assignments and our long-term projects. I would also like to I think we are extremely fortunate with the talent in our engineer's office, especially our county engineer, for the support that he gives our department on a daily basis. The report outlines our main areas of work: drainage, public safety, road construction, vegetation control, and emergency responses. Just going through, and I asked IT, I said, just stay on a slide about 1 to 2 seconds, because I'm not going to go through each slide, but what they show, it is in the packet, and I urge you, if you'd like, to kind of browse through it. Like I said, we're trying to put a lot of work into it. But our department handled at least 7 drainage projects this year, at least 18 culvert projects, and at least 12 washouts or erosion projects. And we completed 5 of our rehab construction projects on top of, our call-ins and emergency situations. We were sidelined a bit this year due to COVID-19 and having to deal with unstable staffing, but so were all of the other road and bridge departments. But we were able to complete the projects that were the most needed. There were 8 projects in which the second treatment was completed, and I landed right on that slide with that sentence. In addition to our rehab and construction projects, we also maintained our blading, our pothole patching schedule, along with shredding, vegetation control, and our tree trimming. This year, we did something we have not done in a while, and we did implement an emergency repair interlocal agreement with the city of Hallsburg. I believe Precinct 3 and Precinct 4 and Precinct 1. I believe all of you have similar agreements where you help out those smaller cities in cases of emergencies due to storm weather or inclement weather per se that causes an immediate public hazard. We did have 2 major projects this year. That was the Masonic rail car replacement project that we completed. And again, our thank yous go out to Commissioner Jones, Johnny the foreman, and the other employees of Precinct 3 that assisted with that project. And lastly, I'm gonna let us land on that slide as I wrap up. I try to stay under my 3 minutes. There was a Trading House Lake project that we worked on along with a building maintenance. That was a $353,290 grant with a 25% share. And when we estimated what Precinct 2 provided as far as in-kind, our estimate comes over 105,000. So we're really good in that we met the county's 25% match on that project. We are going to come back with a detailed presentation on the Trading House Lake project so that you all can see the renovations and how it looks. TJ and I would have liked to have had a formal ribbon cutting, but I know COVID just has sidelined some things. But we will come back with a more detailed presentation on what we did at Trading House Lake. Lastly, those final slides show that we used 85% of our budget last year. Again, we had to sideline some major construction projects and some maintenance projects because of unstable staffing. You can see the prior year, we used 93% of our budget, and that's a regular work year. I anticipate this year in 2021, we will use our budget, but again, we're only going to use it if it's efficiently done on where it's needed. And so I'm just submitting our annual report for fiscal year 2020, and I would move that we would approve it for recording purposes.
Okay, thank you. Good report, Commissioner. Any questions anyone have?
Great report. Great
Yep.
report.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Item E6C, Information Technology Monthly Activity Report, September through December 2020. Judge,
Okay, the reports in your package, I think there's not any question that could be asked about IT that's not on this report. It's very thorough, very detailed. I've gone through it. I would suggest if you haven't had a chance to go through it, look at it. It gives you a itemized detail of what goes on a day-to-day basis and what looks like they're getting a lot of very good things done as well. And with that, Lisa, unless there's, if you have any comment on it, I would ask that the court review it and approve it for recording purposes. But first of all, if you have any comments, I'd welcome that.
Thank you, Judge. There are a few things I would like to point out. I will absolutely try to be brief. I wanted to commend my team for their preparedness that led to a successful implementation on another major network project we had this year, and that was for our core switch upgrade and the failover installation that gave us additional system redundancy. We've had a number of server projects in motion. Our new cluster has been installed, many server migrations performed. This includes our ultimate goal of joining all the EDOC production systems into one environment for improved performance and integration. So that is underway, and we'll be excited when that part is completed. We had a large area of support provided to the elections office in preparation for their November election, as well as committing resources to HR during their transition to their new health provider, providing, organizing the files for Munis, ensuring equipment was set up for open enrollment. So a lot of busy things going on this period. I know Commissioner Jones had some interest in where we were on our Tyler software upgrade. I wanted to communicate that there's been a delay due to resolving some form issues. There's 2 upgrades that are pending, and the second one is the overall version upgrade, and they have to be done together. We currently have that scheduled in May. That was the earliest they were able to squeeze us in. We will be meeting with them later this week. We want to address some delays in the support response we feel like we've seen in the past several months. We do have understanding that their support teams were not available for some periods after September when there was a cyber attack, on their systems. But once that seemed to be, resolved, we just had a difficult time getting some responses with the W-2 information that was trying to go out this week. So we'll be visiting with them. I also want to point out that our cybersecurity awareness training is well underway. We are at 76% completion from our employees. We have had 9 offices with 100% staff completion. So we greatly appreciate the cooperation and responsiveness of those that did not delay in completing that requirement. It is our goal to try to have that done by March 31st so that we're well ahead of that deadline and not trying to wrangle everyone together at the last minute. We want to be compliant with House Bill 3834. We've, our deployments, we're really trying to get those out. We have been somewhat impacted by COVID the last several months, some unexpected support situations that we've responded to, but we really do try to strive to stay on top of our projects and the department requests. And so I appreciate everyone's patience in working with us. And with that, I'll leave that. And if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to try to answer them.
Lisa, how much will that upgrade help the various staffs, things like that?
I think David may better be able to speak to all the things that will, or the things that will be encompassed in that upgrade that would impact us. I know there was some questions regarding whether the open enrollment process would be improved and such, but I think what the HR office was looking for, I don't know that it would have resolved that, and they seem to have a new system in place that worked really well. David, can you speak to that? Or you on?
Yes, ma'am. You're actually spot on in regards to that, ma'am. The upgrade itself, although it will fix some minor things throughout, a majority of it is more of just kind of a facelift of the system, more than it is anything. A lot of the functionality and other items will still remain the same. Some of the reporting might look a little bit better, might be a little bit easier. And some of the other areas, such as the work orders, for example, we're we're actually working on setting a meeting with them in regards to, in order to see if this newer version holds anything that will make those look a little bit better, could make those flow a little bit more easily. But for the most part, it's more of a look than a functionality update.
Thanks.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve Lisa's report for recording purposes?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Pass.
All right, under item F, budget and budget amendments, under F1 regarding the FY21 budget. Francis?
Yes, sir. So we have 4 budget amendments for the current fiscal year, starting with F1A. This is a budget amendment to increase the tower project line item within the bond fund. And this is related to additional costs that were incurred by Gulf Coast Steeplejack, and those costs were approved on the January 19th agenda. F1B, this is a request to increase the Heart of Texas Fairgrounds repair and maintenance line item. This is coming from general fund contingencies, and this is related to gas line repairs at the facilities at the fairgrounds that was also approved on the January 19th agenda. F1C is a request from the Adult Probation Department. They would like to request money from contingencies to move into their furniture and equipment line. This is to cover the cost of a desk that will be used in their lobby area for COVID screening and other COVID related needs. The bulk of adult probation comes from state grant funding, but this is an item that's not allowable within those grant funds. So they were requesting that cost to come from the general fund. And F1D, this is a request from Health Services, and it is to move money within their department into other services and charges to cover the cost of publications related to our MOU that we have now that you approved earlier with the Heart of Texas Homeless Coalition. That was item H3 that you approved earlier.
Okay. All right, are there any questions on those 4 budget amendments? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
So- Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under F1E, McLennan and Hill Counties, Tawakona Creek Water Improvement District, discussion interaction regarding the funding request for baseline water quality study. And Judge, we are still waiting on updates from Dr. Lear, so we request this be deferred again.
Okay, is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under item G, G1, authorization of renewal for bid 20-010 asphalt emulsions delivered and picked up. Ken?
Yes, sir. We had the bid 20-010 that we processed last year. We currently have a bid awarded to various vendors for the asphalt emulsions. We sent out a request to see if they were willing to hold the same pricing that they had last year. They're willing, and so each vendor has agreed to the new terms for another year. If approved by the court, that would extend this contract from March 1, 2021 through February 28, 2022.
Okay, any questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
G2, authorization of renewal for bid 19-012, printing of letterhead and envelopes with Furman Business Forms. Ken?
Yes, sir. We, again, as stated, we have a current contract with Furman's Business Forms for the printing of letterhead and envelopes. This bid was put out in 2019. The initial term for the contract was for 1 year, starting March 1, 2019 through February 29th, 2020. The contract included an option to renew annually at the discretion of the Commissioner's Court. This bid was renewed from 2020 to 2021 with no increase in pricing. We consulted with Trigger Furman at Furman's and received an email from him stating he would like to renew his contract for another year, but he would need to ask for a 2% increase. Furman remains cheaper than the next lowest bid that we put out in 2019. We respectfully bring before the court the option to renew bid 19-012 for the period of March 1, 2021 through February 28, 2022, if approved by the court.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Well,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Item H2, authorization of cleanup agreement with Liberty Tire Recycling regarding Road and Bridge Precinct 1. So Ken and Commissioner Smith?
Yes, sir. As we've done many times in the past, we've contacted Liberty Tire Recycling to send a trailer out to Precinct 1. And it's an amount of $2,300 for the trailer. And they currently have a diesel fuel charge of 5% of billed revenue charges. And it's much like previous contracts that we've done in the past for our county precinct cleanups.
All right. Okay, any questions anyone have? If not, is there a motion to approve the agreement with Liberty Tire Recycling, LLC?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under item H4, authorization of interlocal cooperation agreement with City of Moody regarding regulation of subdivisions in extraterritorial jurisdiction. Zane?
Yes, sir. This item will allow the county the exclusive right to regulate the subdivision plats and related permits within the ETJ surrounding Moody. It's recommended for approval.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve agreement with the City of Moody?
So move.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
H5, authorization of electronic recording agreement with Synergo Incorporated for the county clerk. And I don't believe Steve, Callis, or Andy are on, but this is provided at no cost to the county. This group offers an electronic recording platform where title companies and banks, et cetera, can submit electronic documents to the county. So, and like I said, there is no cost to the county for this service.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
H6 is authorization of contract for services with Texas Language Connection LLC for interpreting services. This is an agreement between them for interpreting services for the 414th District Court, and those rates for the interpreter are included in your packet.
Okay, any question anyone would have? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
H7, authorization of order agreement with RICO regarding the health services copier. Heather or Ken?
Well, oh, go ahead, Heather.
Oh, you can go ahead, Ken.
Oh, I was going to just say that I believe Heather noticed that they were paying a lot of money on the maintenance agreement they had with the copier over in their office. Their last year's maintenance agreement was $2,572.31. We were able to negotiate a lower amount of copies that they were making, and so we were able to reduce down with this new agreement down to $1,436.70. So we're saving approximately $1,100 a year on the maintenance for their copier.
Okay, good catch. Any questions anyone have?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. And Ken, I'd just say check and see if there's any other copiers that where we could or any office equipment we could reduce the cost on.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
H8, authorization of interlocal cooperation agreement with Coryell County for housing and care of inmates. This would house inmates at the McLennan County Jail, and the per diem rate is $84 per day, and the term of this agreement is for 1 year.
Okay, any questions? Not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion been made second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
H10 is authorization of contract for services with the state of Texas, acting by and through the Department of Information Resources and Amazon Web Services. Price estimate. Lisa?
Yes, thank you, Dustin. Okay, this request is regarding our interest to move our data backups from a tape environment to a cloud service provider. We've reviewed a number of the providers out there for our security of the data, for the cost and expense to do such a thing. And we have found Amazon Web Services to be the provider we would like to recommend to the court. It is one of the industry leaders in this space, and they have met, DIR has vetted this company already. We too have looked into the security of this environment with our security and compliance analyst on staff here. And these meet, our standards. And so we are wanting to pursue that. And this will allow us to better utilize our disaster recovery planning in the sense that we could have this data in various, a place of our choice, across the nation, so that if there were to be some sort of incident, we have our data secure in another location, as well as what we maintain locally for, our use. The expense for this, we're looking at 2 containers of space, approximately 60 terabytes for each account. And that will run approximately $369 a month. There's a one-time fee for the storage device that we will ship the initial data. It'll be encrypted to AWS. To get that, if we were ever to have to pull that data back out, this is kind of a cold storage idea. If we ever had to pull it back down, we've got some options there so that we are prepared for what those costs might look like. There's an expedited rate, a standard rate, and a bulk rate. And that's there in the documentation I provided for you. At worst, it might cost us about $1,400 to have that data, within 5 minutes time. If we needed 3 to 5 hours, it would cost less than $500. If we could go 5 to 12 hours, it would be a little over $100. So very affordable if we found ourselves in that position. Annually for both of these storage repositories, this would cost us about $740 a month, or $8,880 annually. This would be a fluctuating rate, as it is treated much like a utility. You just pay for what you're using. So as that storage increases, or it probably wouldn't decrease very often unless we purged information. But that's just an idea of what that cost would be, in addition to the one-time $500 for the 2 devices. So I am presenting this request to the court. I think it's a good move for us to come off of the tape backups. Their viability is limited. This is a very economically priced plan. And like I said, it supports our disaster recovery efforts.
Switch interpreters, please.
Okay, that is all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
No. I don't. Does anyone else have any questions?
Is this currently budgeted? I mean, where is this in the budget? This amount that's enumerated?
That we do not have this budget. This would be like a utility expense that we would take on. Well, actually, you know what? We may have put something in that budget. I apologize. I did not have that here. Let me look real quick.
There was, ma'am. I don't remember if it was just a dollar budget holder or if we went with the first 60 terabytes on our budget.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I know we discussed this during our budget hearings, and I think you're right. I think it may have just been a dollar placeholder, understanding that it would be that we likely would be treating it like a utility cost. I am looking. Francis, can you see a copy of our finalized budget?
So I'm pulling it up now. But I mean, you're saying utilities. I mean, this is something that would, hit y'all's budget and probably, and be something like other services and charges, since it's a monthly charge that we're incurring.
Actually, Francis, I'm sorry to interrupt. I did find it. We did settle on amount. I think we did.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't have that ready. We did allocate $5,000 in our budget under the, yes, other service charges. I think initially we were going to target just one repository of the 60 terabytes. And then after further investigation and thought on that, we decided we probably should cover the Isilon area as well. We do have a DR unit here, but it's local, and having that geographically located in another place would be very good. So I do have 5,000 of that to cover the remaining estimated 3,800. Let me look at my contingencies. I feel like I can cover that. I may have to move some money from some of my other line items, but I don't think that will be a problem.
I think the answer to Commissioner Smith's question is yes, we have a way to fund it.
Very good.
Yes, that is correct.
I would say, coming from an environment where backup was so important, this is very, very necessary.
Right. Okay.
You hope you never have to use it.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. Thank you. That's what we hope, but I do appreciate your support.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the contract and price estimate?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Motion made and second. Any discussion? No discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
H11, authorization of master service agreement with AMG Technology Investment Group, LLC, doing business as NextLink Internet for Road and Bridge Precinct 1 Internet Service Upgrade. Lisa?
Yes, sir. This is a request to increase the bandwidth out at Precinct 1. Currently, they have a 10 by 10 connection at $250 a month. We can have a 40 by 20 connection at a reduced rate of $200 per month. This will be about a $600 annual savings, and it is also a 3-year term. This will, better support their business operations and utilization of laptops by Wi-Fi for their staff when, to assist them in their training requirements.
Okay. All right. Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the agreement with NetLink Internet?
So move.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under item I1 regarding ADA renovations at Extraco Event Center, agreement with John W. Irwin Construction, authorization of application for payment number 8. This payment application totals $213,258, and Ken and I have.
Yeah, may I interject? Actually, the payment app is for $32,204. I'm sorry, I didn't catch this reading through the notes and everything. That $213,258 value is actually the amount left to be done on that contract. So I just want to clarify that the pay app number 8 is for again $32,204.
Okay. We'll make that clear in the motion. Any questions anyone would have? All right, is there a motion to approve pay application number 8 for $32,204?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under I2 regarding Spiegelville Road Improvement Project, bid 20-004, agreement with Knife River Corporation South, authorization of application for payment number 11. Zane?
Yes, sir. This application number 11 is in the amount of $207,283.78. The application has been reviewed and it's found to be acceptable. It's recommended for approval.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions? Is there a motion to approve the pay application number 11 for $207,283.78?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under item K2 regarding the State Criminal Alien Assistance Program, SCAP, authorization of FY20 grant application submission. This is the annual grant that we apply for that covers correctional officer salary costs for incarceration of certain undocumented criminal aliens. They've changed some of the forms this year, and so we wanted to go ahead and get this on the agenda before we needed to submit one of the forms. We won't know the amount until we actually upload and apply for the grant and then receive it back, but we just need a motion to approve that grant application.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the grant application for SCAP?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under item K4 regarding the 2021 State Homeland Security Program, authorization of grant applications and related resolutions. This is for personal protective equipment for Bomb Squad Unit, 800 radio equipment for aviation unit. Michael Graham?
Good morning, Judge and Court.
Morning.
Last year during the budget, the Commissioner's Court gave money to the Sheriff's Office to buy some new SCBA material equipment for the bomb squad to use. That came with two complete sets of tanks and the equipment, and also 2 face masks. We're seeking money to buy 2 more face masks and also some gas masks to outfit every member of the court with that equipment, or of the team with that equipment, so that we're not sharing respiratory gear. That's for the bomb squad application. For the aviation application, one of the 800 megahertz radios in one of the helicopters has stopped working properly, and so we're seeking money to also repair that. Total both grants combined, we're looking at less than $6,000.
Any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under L2, County Sheriff, L2A is authorization of order accepting monetary donation for the cold case unit. And this is a donation from the Waco Bargain Center totaling $1,000 for the Sheriff's Office cold case unit. I don't know if anybody from the SO wants to comment anything or not, but we would just need a motion to approve that donation.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
L2B, authorization of phone request. David Ives, did you want to speak to this?
Yes, this is in regards to our GTL. So our facilities needs have grown over taking over Jack Harwell. And what this is for is we're just asking for a phone and the associated contract that Lisa could speak more about in depth. But this is for our GTL support. GTL runs all the phone services for inmates and the tablet services for the inmates within both of the facilities. And essentially they are going to give us a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 employee that is going to be on site at the facilities to deal with all of the phone and tablet issues that we have come up. So we have that quicker response. And we're just trying to get that individual a county phone line so that when we have these maintenance calls, they can contact that person directly to handle the issues as they arise.
And the 282 is a one-time cost?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
All right, under M2, discussion regarding healthcare plan audit and related engagement agreement with Messier 42 LLC, and we will need to keep this deferred again.
Okay, is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
M4, tax increment reinvestment zone number 1 East, City of Lorena and McLennan County 381 area regarding a semi-annual report July 2020 through December 2020. And this is just the recording of the Lorena TERS semi-annual report for that time period.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to accept the report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
M5, authorization of intergovernmental transfers of funds derived from the county healthcare provider participation fund mandatory payments. Heather?
Yes, sir. This is HHSD has requested an IGT for demonstration year 10 advanced uncompensated care. We're requesting to IGT up to the balance in the LPPF of $12,393,715.59.
Okay, any questions? If not,
Motion to approve the IGT up to the current balance.
Second.
motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
M6 is authorization of order granting exemption from competitive bidding and approving purchase of portable x-ray system for the McLennan County Sheriff's Office. Ken?
Yes, the sheriff's office has a specific need for an x-ray system to work with the bomb squad. They had an x-ray system, it's failed and couldn't be repaired. We're looking for this exemption from competitive bidding under the item necessary to protect or preserve public health or safety. That can be found in Local Government Code Chapter 262.024A2. And again, it's the system that they researched. It is the system that it's the Smart Ray Vision X-ray and is distributed by Sharp Logics LLC. They found it best fits their need. It is the same unit used by the ATF, DOD, DHS, and all branches of the military, and it is compatible with the source unit that we already have. and it's available for immediate purchase. Just to share that this unit will cost $63,975. But I think we have an immediate need for this unit. Therefore, we're presenting this as a discretionary exemption by the court.
Any questions? And that's, so how's that, what line items that come from?
Judge, if I may, that's coming from grant funds from last year's state Homeland Security grant that we were awarded through HOTCOG.
Okay, so there's available, so there's still money available on that. is what you're
Correct.
saying.
That
I
grant
got you.
for an X-ray system, because we expected to need to replace ours.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the estimated cost?
$63,975.
And that's the amount the grant was for.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the order granting exemption to the competitive bidding and approving the purchase?
So move.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
All right, back to item O, the McLennan County Venue Project under O1 regarding the architectural services agreement with Populous. We have two professional services invoice. O1A1 is regarding their October services. And this is for construction administration services totaling $21,450 for the month of October. O1A2 is regarding the November services invoice. This invoice totals $71,500 for construction administration services for the month of November.
Okay, any questions? All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve both the pay requests.
Second.
Motion second, any other discussion? No discussion, call for
This,
vote.
okay, Judge, question very quickly. This pretty well maxes them out then on what they had, we had budgeted for them. Is that correct?
Commissioner, what we were under contract with them, I think through December, and then it switches to a monthly amount through the remainder of the project, which will likely run through March and into April. I don't remember that monthly amount off the top of my head, but this did reach I believe the 1.7 million that we were under contract with, and then those additional months came in, I believe Ken may remember, but I think it was 15,000 a month additional for construction administrative services, but I will check on that and let you know.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Under O2 regarding the construction manager at risk agreement with John W. Irwin General Contractor. O2A is authorization of application and certificate for payment number 24. Ken and I have both reviewed this. Populous was on site again recently and walked the project. It totals $1,896,772.
Okay, any questions? No questions, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made second, any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
All right, moving down to the supplemental agenda under item B, additional items for discussion. Under B1, authorization of 2021, 2022 aviation insurance proposal with Star Indemnity and Liability Company. And this is the proposal for the renewal premium on our helicopters. It totals $21,597. This is an increase over last year, which totaled right at $18,000. And this is up for renewal on February 6th.
Okay, any questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Item B2 is McLennan County Children's Protective Services Board authorization of board appointment. This is a request from the board to approve the appointment of Rolanda Burns to the board.
Okay, any questions? Not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
Item B3 is authorization of equipment trade-in request for information technology. Ken?
Yes, sir. The IT department received a quote on various APC units. Those are battery backup. One of them is actually for our IT room, which is very important. But in their quote, they had some trade-in values for the old APCs. We cannot accept a trade-in unless it's approved by the court. That's therefore the letter that I sent. The approval of a trade-in is in local government code chapter 263.152. The court may offer the property as a trade-in for new property of the same general type if the commissioner's court considers the action to be in the best interest of the county. On a large unit, we're going to the trade-in values of $485, and we're getting 3 smaller units, and the trade-in value of those are $184 each, and so we'll receive a total of $550 for those 3. All totaled, we're saving $1,037 for the 4 units.
And I'd also like to point out, so this is to, this is an emergency purchase, an unexpected purchase that came up. The backup system is failing on our phone network. We've had a few support incidents after hours where the phone is going down because it is failing over to the backup unit and then not going back to the main source of power. I had visited with TJ on that to make sure we didn't have any electrical issues in the area, and we do not. He's confirmed with me that the backup unit is the issue, and it's, you know, outlived its life expectancy as well. So rather than just, you know, focus on the sales, we want to replace the whole unit. I think it was originally purchased back in 2014. I do have contingency funds in the phone department, and that's what I'd like to make the purchase from.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the trade-in request?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass.
And Judge, I had one quick update on that. Commissioner Smith's question on the Populous contract.
Yeah.
They were under contract for performing construction administration services through December 1st, 2020. And then after that, we moved to a monthly sum of 15,000. But they were going to bill 95% of the construction administration through November, but they were holding the final 5% until after the punch list walk was done. So we will still see one more future one based on the total contract, and then we'll have the $15,000 monthly construction administration services. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Dustin.
Yes, sir. And Judge, I know we skipped around a lot, but I think we took care of every item, and unless Mercedes or Reagan see something differently.
Okay. All right. Under work session, I don't have anything particular to discuss unless someone else does. Our next scheduled meeting is February the 16th. Anything else to come before the court? Okay, if not, it is 12:12 and we shall adjourn. Thank you.
The recording has stopped.
All